last few days have been challenging. Two things that are making it hard. One is I have way too much in my pack, but I can't think of anything to get rid of. The only thing of any weight to eliminate would be my laptop. I know people go, "You're carrying a laptop." It's a light laptop, and I so enjoy the process of being creative with my videos and photographs, etc., that to leave it out of my pack, send it on, and not use it during these 30 to 50 days that I'm going to be walking doesn't make sense for me. So in it goes, along with its charging cord, which weighs something. I do have a little bit too much food, which I will use up slowly. I had it left over from traveling, and I thought, well, I will use it slowly as I travel, especially my breakfast food I carry so that I can have breakfast in the mornings before I leave. My kind of breakfast, I don't like a huge amount of sugar and carbs and bread in the morning, especially if it's white bread. So that's to be said. I think a lot of the problem is this is a winter Camino. I mean, look, I'm wearing a coat, a heavy shawl as a scarf. I've got a hat on. I've got my leggings. They all weigh something, even though they're not in my pack. So that's part of it, and I didn't train with this weight on my back beforehand. I had carried some weight, but not this much. The other thing is that even though by the third day it seemed like most of the initial little aches and pains were working themselves out, on the fourth day, yesterday, all of a sudden, the hip that gives me the most problems, my right hip, decided to just go south. I woke up in the morning and it was hurting like crazy. This has happened to me for 40 years. Every once in a while, that hip just doesn't want to behave, and then it makes my whole right side hurt. So yesterday I walked 14 kilometers, slowly, resting quite a bit with that hip. And I made it. It wasn't horrible. And by the end of the day, it was feeling better. Probably thanks to a couple of ibuprofen during the day, and also listening to an audiobook, which I don't like to do when I'm walking. I want to think about things, even if the things I'm thinking about aren't very important. So today, it feels a little better. I'm lucky because actually yesterday and today, the walk has been mostly rolling hills. I will show you mostly rolling hills. Not too much up, hard up, not too much down. Rolling through beautiful fields of vineyards and farm fields and plots of gardens. It's really beautiful. I've been sad because of the pain, I haven't been able to really enjoy it. But I do remind myself that today is only my 6th day on the Camino. It's not unusual after a few days that you're kind of shake things out and get used to things. You're in training right now, so that's one reason I've been walking a little less amount every day, taking it easy right now. I'm hoping I can increase my distances as I go along. So the guest houses have been all right so far. The albergues and guest houses, they've all been dormitories. Although there was one night when I was the only person in the whole place, so I kind of had a private room. And then another night when there was just 2 of us in the dorm. So it's almost pretty private. There's very few pilgrims. And then it's understandable why hardly any albergues or guest houses are open right now. They would have no business if they were open. So it's understandable. I think my biggest problem is that they also are not heated very well. Most of them are in old buildings, and I understand it is really a challenge to heat these places. Probably another reason why they don't want to be open in the winter. But it does make it hard to get to sleep. In the early evening, you really have no place to kind of sit and relax because it's cold. You almost have to sit in your sleeping bag to stay warm. So that has been something I hadn't thought of. It's funny, I had thought a lot about bad weather and snow and wind, and yet today, my days have been like this almost every day. Very still, especially in the mornings, and sunny, very nice weather. Uh, so I was prepared for bad weather. This happens to be a lot. What I'm prepared for doesn't happen. Um, and of course, I will probably still get some bad weather, but I'm not complaining about the good weather for sure. Um, but it has been very cold. The nights have been down into the 20s Fahrenheit, which is somewhere like around -5 to -7 degrees Celsius. Uh, it's pretty cold to wake up to, or it's pretty cold. Like last night, we were supposed to go, we were supposed to go across a courtyard outside to go to the bathroom if we had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I was like, oh gosh, where's my chamber pot when I need it? But I kind of snooped around down the hallway from where our dormitory room was, and there was a private bathroom down there. And I went, you know what? This is what we're going to. I told the man that was also in the dorm. I said, let's use this one during the night because. And he says, yes, you are very intelligent. He told me in Spanish. Let's use this private one during the night. Going across a 25-degree courtyard at midnight to go to the bathroom didn't sound like much fun. So we didn't, it was kind of a don't ask, don't tell policy. I did not say to ask the host if it was okay to use that toilet, but that's what we did. So it is a challenge to have that really cold. I don't like to sleep in the cold. Ask my daughter how grumpy I get when I have to sleep when it's cold. So those have been the challenges of the winter Camino that I had not anticipated. Albergue's not open except, sometimes as much as 17 kilometers apart. So you have no choice unless you want to camp. No, thank you. So that has been, it's taking a lot of planning to think in terms of, okay, if I go 7 kilometers today, can I go 14 the next day? Or, so that I'm not going too far, but at least I'm making some kind of progress. Those are all things that go into the planning process day by day. I kind of have to look ahead about 2 or 3 days just to make sure there's going to be something open. And you kind of have to check and double check to be sure they're open because sometimes it'll say they're open, but you check someplace else and they say they're definitely not open. So thank goodness for the internet. Before the internet, I don't know how you would do this because you just have to hope that there'd be some place with a bed at night when it's 23 degrees outside. As I mentioned before, I think I'm setting my timer for once an hour in these early stages to stop, rest my legs a little bit, eat something maybe, and do some stretches before I continue on, keep from injuring myself. Usually my alarm goes off right when there's no place to really sit comfortably, but today, look, just about time for my rest stop, a bench with a view, the perfect height for taking off my bag without having to lift it from the ground to put it back on. I don't know how I could ask for anything more at this point. It's only a slight breeze, so it's not cold, and it's in the sun, which in the summertime is probably not great, but right now I'm glad to see it. I know I keep saying this, but one thing I love about being in Europe is when you're walking, the villages are so close together. Within sight right now, I can see 3 villages. There's one on the left side of the screen, and there's one in the middle, and now I go just a little bit further and you can see my destination, Los Torres del Rio, in the distance. And so like within sight, I see easily 3 villages,